Hello A-Level 2020ers, hi, I'm Ran. I run this channel Beyond the Blackboard, the channel that empowers you to craft the future you desire. I do at least weekly content on supercharging your learning, uncovering life-changing opportunities, and keeping you up to date about all things education. So if that sounds useful, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join the community. Alright, so we know you have your A-Level grades. What now? There's a lot of uncertainty about what universities are going to do, what that means in terms of how likely it is you get your offer. Do you want to go to university this year? Do you want to take a gap year? We're going to talk about this week. Let's go. Alright, so as you know, you have got your CAGs or your Centre Assessed Grades instead of that crazy algorithm that was completely unfair. Which is great. I think it's one of the best outcomes that could happen. And on the surface of it, great. We've got the highest grades that we've ever had in this country. It's gone up by roughly 10%, people reaching C and above. And you're seeing a similar trend in terms of the highest grades as well. So more people getting A's and A stars than ever have happened before. And of course, there are issues with this system, namely private candidates being overlooked and not being able to get a CAG, as well as teacher subconscious bias, but I do think it's the best outcome that could have happened. However, there are, of course, downstream issues that we're finding now, namely in the form of what has been called grade inflation. And this is having a direct knock-on effect this year in terms of university applications. Because if there are more people with higher grades reaching the offer amount for universities, for the top universities, that means there are more people with offers with exactly the same amount of spaces, or even arguably less because of social distancing, etc. So universities are in a really difficult position at the moment because the government have got rid of a previous cap that existed on the amount of students they could take, and that has now been gotten rid of. So in theory, all universities can take as many students as they want. And this is really difficult for universities because of course it was a last minute U-turn that they were given. So how are universities dealing with this issue? Well, if it was usual circumstances, it would seem that probably legally they would have to honour all offers that have been made. So universities have a few different options they can do in this situation, and it's up to them which one they do. I've heard of universities such as, I believe, Cambridge and perhaps Oxford have said that they are going to honour all offers that are given, but they might have to defer certain people to next year. How they choose who they defer, I have no idea. Some universities may just be able to accept everybody and then do some kind of online course or hybrid course, which gets around the facilities issue of not having big enough lecture halls, but of course it's a different experience. It also would seem as a general trend that the top universities or the top ranked universities that most people choose as their first choice will be oversubscribed. There's also worries and fears that lower down ranking universities will have less people going for them and applying to them because of this lack of cap on students, meaning an uneven distribution. Alright, so that's the lay of the land. What should you do about it? Well, option number one, of course, if you get offered your dream university place, I would say just go for it and take it, unless you have any specific reasons for not wanting to take it. Perhaps things like it might not be the standard university experience this year with, things like Freshers Week might be more distilled, and there might be more online lessons and less, opportunities to socialise, or I'm sure there will be plenty. Then it would seem like perhaps the right choice would be to take the offer that you desire. You've also got, for some reason, more international students applying for this year. Why that is, I'm not 100% sure. I actually previously had predicted on this channel that there would be less because of coronavirus, but that's the situation we have. So that adds even more pressure on places this year. So what should you do now? Well, in order to answer that question, I'm going to lay out a few different scenarios and considerations I think you might want to consider, whether you've got your offer, whether you're thinking of going to clearing, whether you're thinking of deferring to next year. Here are a few things for you to consider. Number one, it's likely that the university experience will be different this year. Of course, with coronavirus and social distancing, there's less likely to be a classic Freshers Week with clubs not being open and social activities probably being diluted somewhat. So there might be a bit of less opportunity to meet people in the normal way that you would. And of course, a big part of university is meeting people, making new friends, and making connections. Now, of course, you will have the opportunity to do this once things normalise, but it is something to consider. Also, in terms of your learning, it's likely that that will be altered as well. Universities, especially if they're accepting more students than usual and still need to maintain social distancing, are likely to take a hybrid approach to learning this year. So for instance, things like lectures are more likely to be online and recorded, whereas things like lab work or group tutorials will probably still be in person with social distancing maintained. And that could be good and that could be bad. There's lots of great things that can be done with online learning that save a lot of time and make it more efficient, but at the same time there might be some teething issues working out the best way to make this work. Will it be more competitive next year? The answer is it's really hard to tell. There is a prediction that a lot more students will be deferring till next year, which could increase the competitiveness. We don't know what international students will look like next year either. It's a factor to consider. So I can't really say whether it will be more competitive or not than this year. There's a lot of unknown factors, but those are three things to consider. So you need to make the choice about how comfortable you are with that uncertainty. Should you take your second choice university or go into clearing? I know lots of people who have been really happy and had a great time with their university not going to their first university of choice. For me, the best thing about my university experience was the people that I met and the attitude that I took towards the experiences that I was offered. And you can get that in so many different places in the UK. So in summary, unless there's a real set reason that you want to go to a specific university, you could be more flexible with it as well and still have a fantastic time and have a brilliant quality of education. If you defer or decide to reapply next year and you choose to take a gap year, what can you do with it? Now, a gap year is in general a fantastic use of your time, I personally think. I've taken, not a classic gap year, but I took time out after university directly, and then more recently I took 6 months out to travel and discover a lot about yourself. My version of doing that was going traveling to places like India and Southeast Asia. Now, of course, there's lots of travel restrictions on at the moment. These may clear up with time. You still have travel options at your disposal if you would like, just they're more limited. But you could also use that time to get a job, get some experience, learn a new skill like a language, and as I say, in general, discover a lot about yourself and what you really want. My friends at UniRise have made a fantastic guide on what you can do, an impartial guide for a gap year if you were considering it, taking into account this corona year, so that's in a link below if you'd like to know more information on that. That's my musings for this week on what you should do now you know your grades if you're applying for university. Please do let me know if you like this video in the comments below, ask me any questions you'd like, and share this with anyone who'd be useful. As I said, I do at least weekly content, so if you'd like to stay updated on things like this, hit that subscribe button, and also let me know any future videos that you'd like me to make in the future. Until next time, see you later.